Good day, good day, good day, good day, good day. This is Mr. Anderson. Hope everyone is well. I've been doing a lot of walking. I find that walking really helps me. It's been helping me. Even when I was with Ryder, getting out at night and walking around. I would walk about 3 miles every day when I was working at Ryder on my lunch break. And with this job, I haven't really been able to walk as much on my break because I don't get a break for one. But I do occasionally get out and walk whenever I can, but it's just down the street and back. Usually go get some cookies or energy drink or something I probably really don't need. But anyway, I digress. So on the weekends that I don't have my children, I try to walk. And that's really been helping me cleanse my mind and focus more on myself and my mental space and my self-intelligence, and listening to my favorite audio book that I've been listening to it for I don't know how many years now, and it's every time I go back and listen to it, it's like it gives me another lesson of something, or my mind changes. So when I listen to it again, it changes some of the things that it brings more attention to some of the things that I need to hear. And one of the big things that stood out to me yesterday when I walked, I think I just did 3 miles yesterday because it started raining. Usually I try to shoot for five or more miles those weekends that I don't have my kids. But anyway, the lesson that stood out is that men are quick to change their circumstances but neglect to change themselves. And it said that, and not in that, I'm paraphrasing to make it simple, is that we really have to understand ourselves. And it goes back to people getting money. You know, if you've never had money, you're not going to know how to change the way you spend or to change the way you see things. That's why a lot of people go broke that get rich or hit lotteries, or some of these, you know, NFL players, NBA players, some business owners. You know, we get that money and we blow it on stuff that really don't necessarily need or want, because we don't know how to budget. We don't know how to do those things we need to do. You have to change yourself. You have to change the way you deal with circumstances and situations, and you have to have a knowledge of self, and you're being a product of whatever environment you come from. You know, whether it be a poor environment, which I understand a lot of them guys that ain't never seen money, they get money, they want to get things, and then a lot of times they want to help family, which is natural thing that we want to do, is help our family and help our friends. Yet we can't, the person that gets the money, receives the money or the resources, then if we don't know how to use it, how do we think we know our friends that we grew up with gonna know how to use it, unless they've had some kind of schooling? And that's one of the things I look at LeBron, and I haven't read the stories, but I've heard, like, he took some of his homeboys and helped them, or they got educations or helped them get educations, and they like run businesses together and they're profitable. So it's we have to have that mindset. And if we are going to receive anything, we have to change our mindset first. And a lot of that is we have to have resources around us to help grow our mind. And whether it be mentors, education, the OGs, which a lot of that doesn't happen because a lot of people don't have that kind of experience. So we have to look at outside sources to get the things that we need, or the knowledge and understanding we need. And one of the things that bothers me about that is, yes, in our community, there's not a lot out there. There may be, yet we really have to dig in it to find it. And sometimes a lot of those people that does have those resources, again, they don't have their selves not in check. Their selves are not in check. So we really have to be careful we have to really be careful who you let in and who you listen to. And I listened to something yesterday when I was sitting charging yesterday. T-Pain. Shout out to T-Pain. And man, I just hearing some of his story. I don't know this whole story, but just seeing his resilience of how he was one of the top, artists, and then fell off, and how he talked about how I've heard stories about, and quote me if I'm wrong, that he had nobody really reached out to him. Nobody really helped him out when he needed. Nobody really coached him. And he said something in one of his Shay or whatever you call it, podcast with I can't think of his name, Sharp, Shannon Sharp, or I think it's Shannon Sharp. That your brother, they call you a brother, but they're not your brother. They'll be the main folks that you'll never see them again. He's like, I would rather have a relationship that based off of what I can do for you and what you can do for me, because that's the real deal. It's business, not this, oh, you my brother, are you my brother type stuff. It's the real. It's, man, I need a feature, you gonna give me this feature. When I need you again, I'll holler back at you. Be real. Let's be real about it. And that's what he was saying about that. And that's that self-intelligence. You have to know who you are to understand, okay, like, man, and maybe a relationship may form out of that, or maybe not. But if it is what it is. You keep it 100, and what the reason we are all in this world is to better ourselves, and to inspire and help each other out. But it don't have to be a label. It doesn't have to be labeled all the time. It would help to have that brotherhood or sisterhood or familyhood. But some of these industries, it's just it's extreme. It's just crazy. It is what it is, because you got so many people that are one-hit wonders, and in certain industries that it's recycling and spitting them out as soon as it brings them in. So you have to realize that, and that's having that self-intelligence of where am I at in my world and in my life? What is my purpose? Where am I going? What does this benefit me, and how long is this going to benefit me? And we really have to be aware of those questions and aware of those answers of like what really is going on. And y'all know me, I'm in the trucking industry. I've been in the trucking industry over half of my life, and I've seen it spit out companies and make big companies smaller, and make companies lay off people, and then rehire folks, and the system is not working and everything. So it's like I'm in the mindset of how can I use my understanding of myself and what I've been through for some of these young men and women that are looking to get into this industry, get into truck driving, get into transportation, being a manager, getting out of the truck and are using the money that they're making to help themselves grow. But you have to know yourself. You have to know where you're going. And I remember a friend of mine, and I'm gonna shout her out, Q, if you're here, you listen to this. I remember her. She drove trucks for, I think she said 9 years, and did tankers, and she was always up against the odds because she's a little tiny little woman. And people doubted her for her, doubted her. But she had enough intelligence in herself to push through all that stuff and move through all that stuff and become an owner operator and do tankers and strive to be the best. And she proving people wrong. But I don't even think it was her proving people wrong. It was just she wanted a chance. She just wanted to do it. It wasn't about doing it. It wasn't about proving people wrong. It was about, this is what I want to do. This is what I love. This is what's, I'm making good money. It wasn't about proving nobody wrong, but she done it. And even when we became managers together at night, we both were battling that stereotypes of truck drivers. And we were managers, we were managing managers, but yet you have people that never drove a truck in their life managing somebody that's been driving trucks for so many years. It's like a big disconnect. And it was so many times we both wanted to give it up because of the disrespect and the unorganized of the organizations that we were in at those times, and that made it hard for us as drivers. And I still battle. I know we both still battle with some of that stuff. Yet when I tell, and when she tells drivers that she drove, you can hear that breath of fresh air, or that calmness of the drivers, and what they see, and what they see in her, and what they see in us, and they have that respect long term, especially when you get to talk and having those drivers stories. And I just had a conversation with my safety manager on my team, and she drove trucks, and we sat on the phone. We sat on Teams for about an hour and a half just talking, but yeah, it's just that self-intelligence. You have to have that internal push. And I always told her that, man, keep going. They need, she was really smart. She didn't have any children. You can go a long way. And that she done rose up. And many times when she wanted to quit, and many times when she wanted to quit or move, leave, and go somewhere, I was like, man, don't worry about this. We got to not worry about the external parts of these systems, and look at the internal and ourselves, and what is this going to do for us. And I always told her, man, you're working for a Fortune 500 company. We're working for a Fortune 500 company. We're working with the company, even though it ain't right. Sometimes, a lot of times, it's still knowledge and understanding what we need for ourselves that we can, speaking of them, just passing on their trucks, that we can use that knowledge and understanding to help ourselves. And that's what I'm having to learn, is to kind of not connect but disconnect certain things. We're paid to do a job, and that's one of my other favorite books, is doing things a certain way. We need to do things in a certain way where we attain the knowledge and use that for ourselves and for what we want. Because the business knowledge that you're doing and create for that business, that knowledge for that business is going to stick in that business. That effort that you gave out to that corporation or that business is going to stay in that business or corporation. No matter what you do, the good or bad, it's going to reflect on that business. Especially if you you in the mindset of you want to do things a certain way and uplift yourself and the people around you. That's going to contain, and that's going to push others to do better and want to do better. So that's going to make the business overall better suited to do their job. So, but it all starts with us. It all starts with us. And man, as I've been saying all this and doing all this, I've been studying, and I didn't know that yet until I started creating my system and my aligning myself with the things that I want and my purpose. And I've been working on everything, and I finally I think it's time really for me to start pushing and putting my stuff out, man, and really doing what it is that I want to do, because I've got all the data, I've got all the understanding. I've seen the pros and cons of being a truck driver, being an owner operator, and owning my own small fleet, and working in management, and not having a job, and driving Uber, and driving forklift, and boxing buns in freaking bags and boxes and crates and stuff. Like, I've seen all that this last year, man. It's been a year of like self-intelligence. It's like really been a year for me. It's coming up on a year, actually the 17th, when I moved out. And when I moved out, and it's really and actually today, the 13th, was actually when it was supposed to be probably my 10th year anniversary of marriage. Man, and I say that, my ear just started ringing. But anyway, just all that, and to see where I am, and to see what I've become, and to see what I've changed. And that's part of what I'm saying, like, man, to change, I have to change myself. No matter how much money I had, no matter how beautiful of a wife I had or beautiful children I had, I have to change who I am to know how to operate and use those tools and resources that I'm given to benefit me and my family. Having a nice car, and having a business, and knowing how to do the P&L, and knowing how to not spend money and splurge money. Y'all know me, I'm not big on Jordans and Gucci, and I'm cool on all that, man. I'm too much of a country boy, small town man, that don't faze me. And I've been there, done that. Remember when we had Tommy Hilfiger and polo boots and Air Force Ones and back then. So it don't faze me no more. If anything, I really use that to trade or make sure my children have something. I'd rather have a dirt bike or a motorcycle or a four-wheeler or a go-kart than some of this other stuff. I love the outdoors. So why would I spend all that money on clothes and watches and all that, knowing I'm gonna get it dirty? So that's just my mindset. I'd rather sit in the grass and wrestle with my kids at the park. So I've said all that to say, learn yourself. Self-intelligence is the key. And I'm excited and happy to really be changing myself and understanding myself. It's sad, it's hard, it comes with the emotional roller coaster. It comes with all that, but that's part of it. That's part of it. Y'all know about stories of people been in jobs for careers for 30 years or 20 years, and they go to work one day and I was like, oh well, we don't no longer need you right now. And I can just imagine with all the years of experience that I've been having, if I would have had all that 25 years of experience with one company, and I get told, oh, we don't need you no more after all those years, you know, it'll make people go postal. Yet, you know, with me, I've learned and I've seen and I've grown and I've felt, and now it's really, all of this is data and alignment for me and myself. So when I get where I'm going, that I can handle it and I should shine the way I'm supposed to shine, and I can give the way I'm supposed to give, and I can be a pillar of these communities and this world and all that. So I don't want to hold you. I love this. I'm just happy. I'm finna start building, really building. Well, I've already been starting. Now it's time to put it down, put the knowledge down. But all right, thank you guys. This is Mr. Anderson.